just a couple minutes, so settle in, get your questions ready. We do have our Graco representatives here. I have Dave Ferrero on the Contractor Equipment Division, and I also have our rep Adam Stanley, who is preparing our line striping demonstration, but he is also here with our niche products division, and we're going to be going over all your questions. We're going to be showing you guys a lot of live demonstrations. I know a lot of people are here for the SaniSpray line. We will be going over the SaniSpray line. If you have any questions about what the difference between the new SaniSpray line and the old paint sprayers are, we'll answer those today. If you have any questions about how you're going to operate the SaniSpray, we'll answer those today. We're also having a great demonstration on the new PCD drum. This is a revolutionary drum. It's going to help you with your restriping jobs without tearing up your original substrate or concrete, asphalt, or pavement. So stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot of people that are a lot more knowledgeable than me, and they're going to explain it much better than I possibly can. We're just going to be waiting here for a couple more minutes as we get more people joining live. So just stay tuned, guys. We will be starting this in the next few moments. Well, we are live.
So we talk whatever.
Yeah, if you want to start talking, you can pick up the mic. I don't. I've already got it.
All right, guys. So while we're waiting, Andres, am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, audio's good. Audio's good.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right. Careful.
While we're
We have an
waiting
audio
here,
issue
I'm going to walk you guys over to the SaniSpray 65, and I want to compare it to our current model, the Pro X19. The Pro X19 we designed as our smallest fine finishing piece of equipment in the market, with the shortest hose, gun, and fine finish tip available in the market right now. It's a compact unit. It's got a 1.5 gallon hopper that you hook up to it. So what we've done, what the great engineers have done, in just 3 weeks, they've taken the line, we tested our units and our competitor units. We've taken the whole line and replumbed 5 units to be able to withstand the corrosivity, aka corrosion, that the sanitization products bring into the regular airless equipment. So again, if you run sanitation products through a regular airless equipment, I will give you guys a guarantee. The guarantee is you are going to ruin that piece of equipment regardless of who the manufacturer is. With that being said, if you look at the Pro X19 and my SaniSpray 65, the two units look identical. What changed, what my engineers were able to pull off, again, in only 3 weeks, they replumbed every single piece of hardware here that sees fluid. So if it gets wet, it is designed to withstand the corrosiveness of sanitation products.
So just to chime in here, what you're saying, even though these two units, they really do look the same, and I get this question a lot, you're saying all the fluid touching components have been re-engineered from the ground up?
Not only on the inside of the units, but also on the outside of the units.
Okay.
Meaning to the point where if we took the detail, even the extensions, and we're going to put one out a little later so you guys can see the difference of the extensions. This looks a little duller, reason being because it's got a coating on it to again resist the corrosion of the products. If you guys look at the pump, I'm not sure that we're able to
You might have to move.
But if you look at the actual pump from this unit, that's a replacement unit for it, you see how bright aluminum looking that is, versus on the sanitation unit, it is black. It's got special coating again, not only on the inside of the protecting the unit, but also on the outside of the unit. The tips, they're low pressure tips. This unit here can reach up to 3,000 psi because again it's an atomizing paint. One of the other things we found with sanitation products is that if you over pressurize it, you actually atomize it so much that you render it useless. So the other thing that we took care of is every one of our sanitizing units that we re-engineered, we replumbed, are less than 1,000 psi to give you the productivity for you to be able to do your products very fast, very quickly, very effectively, and efficiently. More so, there's a lot of buzzwords out there. Things like, well, I'm going to use my electrostatic unit. Great. You're about 4 times slower, if not 6, than what an airless unit can put out. For those guys, for my guys out there that are painters, I think they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Just to touch on that point, what he's referring to is a lot of times, a lot of people right now, they're talking about electrostatic sprayers they're inquiring about foggers, but what they're missing out on is when you atomize your disinfectant too much, it evaporates too quickly on the surface to allow for an appropriate dwell time. You know, a lot of different disinfectants on the market, if you read the product recommendation, it actually has a dwell time. Some have a 4-minute dwell time, 5-minute, up to a 10-minute dwell time. And a lot of times when you fog or use electrostatic sprayers, it atomizes your paint, or your material rather, so thin that it's actually evaporating before it has a chance to have the appropriate dwell time. And that's one of the things that he's referring to right now, and why the machine only reaches 1,000 psi. And I just wanted to ask you one quick question, because I get this question a lot. A lot of people want to know, let's say I pick one of these up now, will this ever be able to spray paint? To my knowledge, this is not going to spray paint.
Oh, fuck.
But, as you know, what does Graco think about that question?
With that being said, I'm glad that Dave is getting ahead of the curve here.
Okay.
But that's okay. That's what we hear. Okay, those are the questions that you guys need answers to. The minute you put anything other than sanitizing products or water through this unit, you have rendered it useless for sanitizing. So if you put paint in there, number one, you're not going to be able to atomize it. Number two, now you've ruined the machine, so you have to literally change all the wet parts of the machine to make it a viable sanitizing unit. That's another key reason and why we took the time to, if you allow me, our airless units are blue. That way you can identify right away that this is from paint. And all our sanitizing units have white on them. So with that being said, sanitizing only, paint only. You put paint in there, you're going to ruin it. Excuse me. You put sanitizing fluid in there, you're going to ruin it. You put paint in here, you're going to ruin it. One of the biggest pet peeves of mine for people with my air sprayers is when they go to store for a long time, they have to put pump operated. They don't, otherwise they're stuck corroding the inside of the unit. Guess what? No pump armor on this unit, because that would render it useless for your sanitizing business.
So just to touch on that, how would one store this if it's designed not to take any pump armor? Is there any recommended storage that we should know about for everyone who's already ordered one or guys planning to order one soon?
So the trick is this. If anybody that's ever looked at how to clean a brush or a roller cover on the side of a paint can, regardless of the manufacturer, the suggestion is warm soapy water. By the way, we're not making this up. This is all in the owner's manual. Okay? Warm soapy water. Soap meaning dishwashing liquid. Don't go getting the heavy duty degreaser that you can find out there. All you really want to do is go ahead and use warm soapy water. You run that through your machine. Once you feel that you've cleared all the sanitizing product out of the pump and the line and the gun, you go ahead and you flush it out with just warm water. Once you flush it out with warm water, on the prime mode on this unit, you put this aside, your prime line aside, let it run prime and let it run as much water as you can out of it. Don't do that for more than 20 seconds, guys. We're trying to protect the unit, not put unnecessary wear and tear on it. Once you evacuate as much water as you can out of it, put it away. Now, David, I always have those overkill guys, especially the ones who go on your website. They want to have the cleanest machine, the leanest looking machine, so forth and so on.
Right.
Any airless sprayer, whether it's a sanitizer or a paint sprayer, it is preferred that you store out in the paint mode. In this case, it's down on the paint mode and with the gun and the hose hooked up to it. Reason being, we want to minimize or eliminate any more introduction of oxygen into the unit. Remember, corrosion is our enemy. What does corrosion want? Moisture, oxygen.
Yep.
Dark spots.
Yep.
Beautiful. What's inside of this machine?
Moisture, oxygen, and dark spots. So
we want to evacuate as much water as we can out of it.
Okay.
Okay, and eliminate as possible all the water possible.
So we want to make sure we're going to store it dry. When we're storing it, we're going to store it as dry as humanly possible and make sure that our prime valve is in spray mode and not in prime mode.
Right.
And what that's going to do is that's going to eliminate oxygen entering the system because it's a closed system in spray mode.
It's going to reduce
Perfect. That's a great tip that might not be out there yet. So that's a really good tip, guys, to be out there. And I just want to throw this out there now. Anyone in the live stream, we will be having special coupons on discounts during our live stream. So if one of my tech guys, if you guys could drop an email address into all the chat lines for anyone in the live stream interested in a discount code for the live stream, please send us an email address to the addresses we're going to drop in the chat line, and we're going to reach out to all of you guys with a special code for discounts on any Graco's products, whether it's paint sprayers, SaniSprays, or line stripers or grind laser equipment. So we're going to be dropping our email address in the line now. And like I said, if you guys want special show discounts that are not going to be advertised anywhere else, please reach out to us via email, or maybe even drop your email addresses in the chat, and we'll circle back around and send you guys that information, okay?
With that being said, shortly here, we're going to very quickly, we brought a desk out to show you guys the biggest difference between doing it by hand with a regular hand sprayer and do it with the airless. It's not a fair test, but nevertheless, it's a test that we want you to see, because at the end of the day, okay, I've been with Graco about 5 years. I worked for a painting contractor for another 5 years with 22 guys under my belt, right? Before that, I worked for a paint manufacturer selling equipment and paint for 9 years. And the one common factor that I've learned throughout the years, the most expensive part of any job, it is not the product, it is not the machine, it's the labor. So if I've got a piece of equipment that can cut your labor in half, or half of that, that means that you're going to be able to do 4 to 6 more jobs. That means you're going to be able to make a lot more money. So please keep that in mind. So a lot of times the cheaper equipment is where we go, because that's what the pocket thinks he wants. But at the end of the day, doing the right job, most effectively, fastest, really makes you the money.
And I really want to touch on something. I know I got a lot of paint contractors, professional painters that are part of our audience joining our live stream. One thing I want to say, a lot of you guys are 90% set up to spray disinfectant right now. You guys have the know-how on how to use the equipment because you guys spray professionally. A lot of you guys already have the PPE, and the beauty of it is a lot of you guys already have the connections with the building contractors, with the managers of developments, and you guys have already had these contracts to come in and paint. With those same connections that you already have, you could pivot into adding the service of disinfecting instantly. And any of your employees who know how to use a paint sprayer will be able to use the Graco SaniSpray just as effectively. So they're already experienced at spraying it. The only thing you really got to get educated on is your product. But you guys are 90%, many of you guys, if you're noticing your paint jobs are drying up, now is the time that you can come in with your crew and disinfect, because the fact is you can do that, and you guys are essential business, and now's a great time to add this service.
David, let me ask you this question. I'm sorry that we didn't discuss this earlier, but I'm going to throw it at you anyways.
Give me what you got.
Are you having issues getting any equipment from any other manufacturers, especially the ones coming overseas? As far as delivery?
Yes, actually, yes. So there is actually anything coming from overseas right now, especially China. There's a huge supply chain issue. So right now, as a vendor ourselves, one thing we are seeing is whatever's made in America right now, that's what's really shipping out. Things being produced here, that's what's shipping out. Right now, with all the situation we have with COVID and all that, a lot of stuff's getting locked up in customs, and it's going to be trapped there for a little while, until things get straightened out. So, and we're going to see the ripple effect of that to you end users. You're going to start to see, sure, a lot of you guys have already noticed that a bunch of stuff on Amazon you can't even order anymore.
That's right.
A lot of stuff is being cut off. So, one good thing is this stuff is all made in America, made in Minnesota. By American workers, and it is being produced as we speak and shipping out now. If you guys probably saw my social media, I had pallets of it in my store. It is available, and we're getting it out ASAP.
Yeah, in our plant, not only do we buy the raw steel, every piece of a steel that is on a Graco piece of equipment, it is machined, it is homed, right? It's polished, it's installed, it's tested, right? Before it gets into that pallet, before it comes over to J and equipment, every piece of equipment from Graco is tested, built, everything under the same roof. Imagine the quality control of that. That's, to me, sometimes until I saw the plant, I couldn't fathom that. Everything under the same roof. So when JN gets a piece of equipment and they're going to ship it to you, you've got the confidence not only that it was American made, built, manufactured, designed, it was also tested here in the U.S. And that includes, by the way, our tips. When you buy a Graco tip, you're buying a tip that is 100% tested before we package it. Yes, Graco is that crazy about quality control. When you buy Graco, you're buying quality.
That's something I 100% stand behind when it comes to Graco and their quality. And that's one thing that I've been trying to tell everyone when it comes into sanitation spraying. A lot of people, you know, no one really had a lot of knowledge about this before. A lot of people are trying to learn about this now. You know, why jump into a relationship with a vendor that you heard of as opposed to a name that's just in the United States for probably over 50 years now, you know, backing, you know, contractors here. If any of you guys have experience with Graco, you know how great they are as a company. Whenever you have tech support issues or even warranty issues, even on our end, Graco always takes care of their customers. That's one thing that I can say about Graco. And so, you know, when you're getting into this new field or adding these new services, it's always great to have a partner that you know you could trust and depend on because they've been here, you know, and they've had our back for over 50 years now.
And I'm sure that you know that Graco is not just in the contractor equipment division. We're in the fluid movement business, meaning if you purchase a frozen pizza, that tomato paste on there more than likely ran through a Graco pump. The last ship, and you got your oil change, and you saw the mechanic pull that reel to fill up your fluids, there's a very great chance that's running through a Graco pump. So it's not just limited to paints, right? We're in the fluid movement business. If there's fluid involved, Graco is somehow moving that fluid for you guys.
Awesome. And speaking of moving some fluid, looks like I got a line striper coming through here. So let me just come up while this bad boy pulls up. Very nice. And this is our this is Adam Stanley coming onto the camera right now. How's it going, Adam?
Oh, pretty good. How y'all doing? I'm Adam Stanley. I'm the niche product specialist for the Southeast. And what we have here today is our LineLazer HP 1021. That's our professional level. It's a 10-inch drum with 21 horsepower. That's how you're going to identify which model you have. We have a 1013, which is a 10-inch drum, 13 horsepower. Okay. So that's one of the important things when we're talking about a grind laser. You want to make sure that you get the right model for the right type of job, right? What we have here is our DCS control. This is a electric start. I'm going to start it right here with the key on the engine. But the first thing I want to talk about is actually our PCD drum.
Okay, here, let me roll this over here.
The most important thing we're going to talk about here. So these PCDs, this is a revolutionary drum. I mean, this is really going to change the market. We have PCD rounds and we have these PCD flats, and we actually have a new drum coming out here in the next couple of weeks that we're going to introduce to the market. But we're going to save that for another show, right? So what we have here, this is a PCD flat. This drum is perfect for taking up your thermo, your paint, on asphalt, on concrete. What this does is instead of individual cutters that actually dig into the surface, so when you hear grinder.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to get down into my asphalt or pavement, maybe take a 1/4 inch off or something like that.
But it grinds like digs, individual cutters. They displace the surface aggregate. What this does is this is not individual cutters that are going to wear out that you have to replace. This actually has multiple plates on it. You could take this down from a 10-inch drum down to nearly a 5-inch drum. So what this is with these plates, these are called PCD cutters on here. So instead of actually grinding, this drum shaves. So you're going to have zero damage surface profile. So where your airports, where they won't allow grinders on there, where it's going to tear up the concrete. Okay. With your DCS control, where you can drop it down 1 mil, you can get such a fine cut. You could just take the line straight up off the ground without even damaging or touching. So it's got the type of control where I can literally just take the paint and just barely touch the surface. Barely touch the surface. Very nice. But it doesn't individually grind into and dig into the surface. So it's not going to displace your aggregate, right? So this is perfect for getting on airports on the runways. It's going to take up those lines, and they're not going to have to worry about displaced aggregate flying in the jets. When you use this kind of drum compared to the more traditional drums that we used to, do you get less dust in the air and things of that nature? Any other differences? The design of our grind lasers with this drum, it compacts it, keeps it in a nice area right underneath there. So if you're like removing thermo, it's not going to be flinging it all over the place. It's going to keep it in a nice line underneath your machine. and you're not going to get a whole lot of dust.
Nice.
But if you are digging into, say, a concrete type surface, you're still going to get a little bit of dust.
Okay.
That's why we do carry a vac line. We have everything from electric vac systems up to a gas powered vac system that you can attach to these to keep all the dust out of there. Our 550 vacs have been tested and for microparticle inspection for the contaminants in the air, and we have passed individual tests that we've done.
Okay, so whatever the case is, no matter what industry you're in, if there are certain standards that you have to meet with particulates in the air,
yep.
Graco already has the solution lined up. We just got to make sure our product with our right customers.
Yes, sir. And you know, whatever job they're going to be doing, they're still going to test it on the job to make sure everything's good with it. But we're confident it could, our gas power could.
All right, and we're going to have a live demonstration of this a little bit later in the live stream. We might be doing a little bit of striping, maybe showing how we can take a stripe off of the floor with this bad boy. That'll be a little bit later on, but that will be coming up. I just want to ask a couple questions back here for maybe some people who are a little less familiar. So this is two separate units, correct, that are actually linked together. So what we have here, this is the LineDriver ES. So that's different from the LineDriver HD. What's the difference here?
So we have a new full electric line. We have electric striper. We have the ES 1000 that you can see right here. We have an ES 2000, and then we have the driver ES.
So so potentially you could have a line striper and driver all electric.
All electric.
No exhaust, no emission.
No vibration, no exhaust fumes. It's perfect for striping indoors.
So like if I had a major warehouse project down at Cisco, Cheney Brothers, or maybe some kind of freight forwarding operation, this would go in there. You'd be able to stripe without having to worry about exhaust or anything like that.
Exactly. And what's great about this is that you could put this driver with a gas-powered striper. It doesn't necessarily have to be paired with an electric striper. If you have a gas-powered striper and you need to drive through buildings or take it inside your building, this is perfect. You don't have to run the striper at the same time. But the other thing is your stripers all day long, they have to sit there and feel that vibration. They get that vibration. With this, it's smooth. There's no vibration. It's got tons of torque. But also what we have, I don't know if we could see it with the way I parked later on when we actually do the stripe, you might be able to see it. But on the other side, we actually have a speed control. What's perfect about this speed control setting is when you're striping with, say, a 3900 full auto, you just push that button and you can watch your speed on there. So if you get 3 miles an hour and your mil thickness is, say, I'll just throw something out, 6 mil, and you see that you're going 3 miles an hour to get that, you can actually push the button on the side and set that exact speed so it's not going to go slower or faster.
To make sure you're getting a nice, consistent pattern down on the floor.
Exactly. So you're going to have the exact same mil thickness. And also, you don't have the engine. So we have a nice storage compartment in the back. We have for a set plug-in on the side. You can plug in lights and everything else.
Nice. And do these ship out with the battery, without the battery?
With the battery.
Available?
With the battery.
With the battery, perfect.
These are going to come with the battery. And
we just plug it up to charge it up at the end of the night or whatever.
So you just plug it up.
Let me get that.
So you just, okay. It's important. It's his mother. Gotta take it. You gotta take it.
It's the wife.
It's the wife, guys. All you guys out there know what that's like.
Yeah, gotta take it. Oh, my pocket's right out of it. All right, so this will keep for about a 10-hour charge.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you definitely get a full workday out of it.
Yeah, full workday.
Nice.
And you're just gonna plug it in and charge it for the amount of time that you use it. If you use it for 10 hours, just plug it in, let it sit overnight. It's gonna be ready to rock and roll in the morning.
And just to touch on the LineLazer, the ES. The LineLazer ES, that one would also have the same battery life. You'd easily get the entire day out of it.
2 batteries is going to get you 60 gallons.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That'll get the job done.
So then you get a 1 battery set up, and you can get a 2 battery set up. Okay. Depending on the ES 2000 or the ES 1000, right? Perfect. So it's pretty much a difference of 1 gun to 2 guns.
And we'll get our eyes on that. I'm out of the screen here. We'll get our eyes on that the LineLazer ES in a few minutes here as we roll through more equipment. We got a bunch of stuff off camera. We're just going to go through all of it. So just stick with us, guys. If we have any questions on the chat, feel free to throw questions out there, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it at us. Yep. And we'll field any questions, especially while we have Adam here, very knowledgeable about all this line striping stuff. Even if it's about a piece of equipment that we don't have in front of us now, ask the questions now while you have the professionals here to answer.
You want to hit on this depth control real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about the depth control.
Now this is a fun part of the machine, right? So this is our depth control system. When you're looking at if you're looking at purchasing a grind laser, make sure that you check out the that's depth control system. What this does, instead of having the regular conventional handle where you're just going to have to drop it down, you know, sometimes you can either get it real close, not enough, or too far, right? What this depth control system does is it's going to get you the exact depth you need every single time, right? You can see this right here. So right now, we're home. This is going to be your home button, right? So right here, you're going to push 0, and this is automatically, do you see? I don't know if you can see that on camera here.
I don't think they can see the screen, but that's going to be hard to pick up.
This is, what I did was I pushed the middle 0 button there. So the whole carriage is dropping down to where your drum is going to be 0 with the surface, right? The next button over is going to be your cut depth. Right now I have it on 15 mil. So it's going to drop down 15 mil and cut, take up your lines, your thermo, whatever you need to do. You don't know what mils is? So anyway, you're going to cut at 15 mils. You can change it to inches. You can change it to whatever you want inside here. So what you're going to do here is you can just change it on the fly. So if you wanted to pick it up, say you wanted to pick it up off the surface, you can use either your buttons on your screen or you can use your handlebar right here. So you can just click this button right here. So what's really nice about that, right? I wasn't even at my cut depth yet. All right, now I'm at my cut depth. So what's nice about this is if you're moving along and you're taking up a line and you look down and you see that there's maybe the ground went down a little bit more and there's still a section of line, you can back up real quick.
Adjust on the fly.
And you can adjust on the fly. So now instead of 15, I'm down to 19.
And I just like to mention, you guys can't really see this in the video, but as he's changing these controls, I can actually see it kind of shifting and adjusting its height to make sure it's exactly where he wants to be.
Okay, so now we've dropped down deeper. I see that the line is gone. If you don't want to sit there and click back up to where you're at, you can just push that button and it's automatically going to go back to your 15.
Very nice.
Yeah. So and everything's programmable. So what the nice thing about that is if you're doing a large scale parking lot, you can actually if you get it to where it's like your perfect depth, you could push right there and hold it and save it, and it's going to save it on the screen. So then you could turn off the machine, turn it back on, go back, push your button. It's going to automatically go down to the exact same depth.
You got to come back the next day. It's already preset the way you had it the day before. Just come in the next day and go at it.
And for the guys that do warehouse work, like polyurea or other type of like surfaces on your concrete, right? What's nice about this is you know, you want to take up that polyurea or another type of surface on the concrete without damaging the concrete at all. That what's nice about that is you can give it a couple of clicks. You can hit that surface, just take it up and do 0 damage to the concrete.
Perfect. And you know what? While we're talking about this now, I would just like to go ahead and say, if anyone on the chat now, you guys could drop in the line giveaway number 1. And we're going to automatically choose anyone who's dropping in the chat the phrase giveaway 1. We're going to randomly choose someone, and we're going to send you out a nice surprise, most likely for your LineLazer. So if you are a line striping contractor, this is a good one to get it on. We're going to send you guys something special, maybe a Graco hat, maybe some line striping tips. Who knows? It's the dealer's choice, but we'll get something out to you. So if you're on the line, please drop in giveaway 1, and we're gonna randomly choose someone. One of my tech guys behind the camera here will randomly choose someone.
All right.
All right. So let's see what else we can get into now. Is there anything else you want to go over on this machine? Maybe
I can go over a couple more things while David comes back and talks about something else. I think he wandered off there. So this is for your HP 1021. This is actually a reverse cut, so you have to have a driver behind it. There's a safety, so this machine is actually going to push against you. Okay. So instead of the drum rolling forward and down cutting, this is actually up cutting, and you can see the port right here on the back. To where it actually, it cuts the material and pushes it upwards towards your vac tube.
So I guess it's really important to have the line driver with this unit, or else you're kind of.
You have to have the driver with this unit. It's a safety hazard not to. We actually have safety features on here to where you can't turn this machine on unless you have the driver attached to the ball.
Nice. Okay.
So like our 1013 and our HP 89 lines, and then we also have the Smith lines, where you don't have to have a driver behind it. Okay. You can put a driver on them, but you can also walk behind them. So those are really nice. What this is perfect for is if you're doing a lot of long line removal. If you're doing a lot like I just sold one of these. He was doing inlay in Puerto Rico. Okay. So he picked up a couple of these.
Edwin? Edwin is on the live stream right now.
Hey, Edwin, how's it going, Edwin?
What's going on, buddy? So they actually picked these up to do inlay for thermo in Puerto Rico. These are really nice machines to get after and just go.
Very nice.
Then we have our 1013. But I tell you, with a PCD flat drum though, it cuts so much better and it's just easier than a conventional drum. With a conventional drum, you have millers or carbides. When you actually go to hit the surface, you could feel
you can see the grooves too.
Well, you can feel them engine engage. Where it's stressing to cut into the surface. This thing's so sharp and it cuts so smooth. You don't get that RPM engagement.
So would you say this drum has a longer lifespan than other drums?
We tested these up to 2 million feet.
Wow.
2 million.
On the same drum?
Multiple types of jobs. They test these up in Minneapolis. I mean, I can't say for sure. I haven't been on every single test, right? But in Minneapolis, they do a lot of inlay work, and inlay is very abusive to the drums, right? Obviously, because you're cutting, anywhere to a half-inch deep at some points. But they do most of their tests with doing inlay on these types of drums, right, Rich? And that's where it's really going to show you how long they last. If you're just taking up, small paint lines off of asphalt, the sky's the limit with these things, right?
Earlier you mentioned that this can be kind of adjusted with different lengths, and I know old drums came with wider and shorter. So with this, are you saying with this one drum, and let's say, I'm just going to guess this one looks like it's about 12 inches long or wide, you could just adjust it all the way down, all the way up as much as you want.
Yeah, these are actually 10. So everything. So if you go on to the 89s, remember it's an 8-inch drum. This is a 1021, so it's a 10-inch drum. That's going to be the biggest one.
So this one could go from 10 inches down.
So yes, down to 5. And the great thing about this is the way these are set up. You don't have to have everything even right in the middle. You can actually have the drum offset. So if you do it at a 5, you can have it sit on the side, off the side. So
So I'm just going to ask this because a question just came to my head. Can I make a split with this type of drum? Can I have, let's say, 4 inches on one side, a 4-inch gap, and 4 on the other?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. I mean, have you ever
I'm getting confirmation off camera. It's possible. All right.
You can, because the shaft that attaches to the plate right there goes all the way through. Okay. So you can offset it however you want it. With these, instead of just having the smaller spacers like for carbides or millers, you're going to actually remove these, and you have your pressure rings here. You're going to just, I'd like to take a piece of wood and a hammer, just knock it down, take your pressure rings off. Then these can slide off, and then you're just going to put your bigger size rings just down the side, and you're going to stack them. It's that easy.
All right.
It's very, very easy. So you just want to make sure you don't hit the actual shaft with a hammer and damage it. Or you're going to need to, do some.
Yeah, you never want to bang metal on metal,
But these are very easy to change and get. In our brochures and our manuals, it's going to show you the exact measurements of what you can get with the spacers. It's never going to be exact, like exactly 8, exactly 9, exactly 6, right? It's always going to be off just a little bit.
And I think anyone who's been out there doing the jobs in real time, we understand that nothing is ever the exact way it is. We got a live question. What do we got?
Jamie Bickham is asking, how long can the driver go on a full charge?
Great question. So Jamie wants to know, how long can the driver go on a full charge?
By the book, 10 hours.
10 hours by the book.
We've had it go as long as 12 hours, but by the book, 10 hours. It's going to give you warnings. You're going to be able to see on the side of the machine your voltage level. So it's not going to sneak up on you and all of a sudden your machine's going to die. But, I disconnect these all the time. They're very easy to move. I mean, they are heavy, but I disconnect them and I move them around my trailers, put them in my storage. They're very easy to move around, but there's more than enough,
Okay, and just to follow, say the charge time would be equal 10 hours charge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we'll get a full day's work out of it, 10 hours. Some of your foremans might think 12 hours is a full day's work, but that'll give you at least a lunch break in there. Oh, we're ready to announce the first winner for our first giveaway. What do we got? Who's our winner?
Our winner is David Har or Her. for giveaway 1. David, go ahead and send your information to sales@jnequipment.com.
Perfect. David, please email us at sales@jnequipment.com. Touch base with us. We can get some information for you, and we're going to send something out to you. Thanks for tuning in. And everyone else, stay tuned. We got more giveaways coming.
Awesome.
You know?
You want me to go ahead and bring the striper on over?
Yeah,
so
I
we can
think
talk
that's
about
good.
The striper
So,
a little bit? David, you want to come over here and talk about a few more things, and I'll go grab that striper for you.
Okay, so I think we're going to do a SaniSpray demonstration. We're going to do cleaning and spray HP65. In the meantime, we're probably going to roll some of this line striping stuff off the screen, but we'll be back with more line striping stuff. We are going to demonstrate this drum during our stream, so stay tuned if you're interested in line striping stuff. We're going to get that going. Just give us a couple moments because this is live, and we are, in fact, contractors and not tech professionals, so we're just going to watch us move some stuff around for a moment.
Just so you know, one of our viewers wants spray handheld. Are we going to see the SaniSpray handheld today?
We have the paint version of it. The SaniSpray handhelds have not been released to the market yet, so I don't even have my model. So I can show you what one is going to look like. You just got to use your imagination and imagine for it to be white. So it's going to look identical, but it's going to be white. We're going to move this table over. Don't grab that.
All right.
I'm gonna go to this side. All right. This for our demonstration today. You want me to lift it up there?
Yeah, I don't want to.
There you go. Yep, careful with the water.
There we go.
All right, so we're going to be using this, and what we want to display is the difference between spraying it by hand, because a lot of people, you know, this is the way we clean. This is the way we've been accustomed to cleaning. Well, but in the current environment, things need to, you know, change a little bit.
So, David, that's actually what you have in your hand, although it says glass cleaner. That's actually what a lot of guys are using because it's the least expensive piece of equipment they can get in their hands.
That's right. And
one of the things we're demonstrating now is the difference in labor, right? You can The question is how quickly.
Okay. All right, so you want me to go ahead and try and give this a spray down? I would love for one of the guys
to run a timer for us. Can anybody run a timer for us? Can anyone run a timer for us?
Let's just see how long it takes me to spray this down.
How long it takes. Now, remember, with this particular products or most products out in the market, the dwell time, a.k.a. the time that the material has to stay wet to actually kill the virus, is 10 minutes. Now, there are other products out there that I'm sure David is looking at me like he wants to educate me on, and I wish he would because I make the machines, not the product.
Well, there's a lot of different products, and just the number one thing, honestly, always follow the manufacturer's recommendation. That's truly the best advice anyone could ever give you. There's a lot of different disinfectants out there. Some have 10-minute dwell time. Some have 5 minutes dwell time. There's some on the market with as low as a 4-minute dwell time. Just always follow the manufacturer's recommendation when it comes to spraying disinfectant. Dwell time.
There we go. So, David, go ahead now. Okay. If you want to, I hope you're holding your mic. I'll hold your mic for you over here, David.
There you are.
And I'm glad that he's using that piece of equipment, not mine.
Actually,
so,
here we go.
Set, go on the timer.
Go.
Now, remember, guys, the area has to be 100% saturated. If it's not, you're going to have to take a rag and saturate it by ragging it. But we'll just stick to the surface for now.
Okay. All right. So I think I've got it saturated.
Not really, David. I'm sorry.
I'm splotchy. I'm missing spots. There it is.
So you're going to have to do a lot more than that. But you might want to open that bottle and just pour it out.
I feel like I need to. And I'm going to be honest with you. I pulled this trigger so many times. I don't know how many desks I'm going to be able to do for my hand cramps up. But what's my time?
Over 30 seconds.
All right.
Well, but you're not done yet, though. A true test, you got to wet the whole thing. I'm sorry, David.
Oh, man. Okay,
we're live, but you got to do it. We may be live, but you got to do it. Now, remember, God gave you two hands, so when the left one gets tired, use the right one.
They're putting me under pressure.
We need a second
bottle.
bottle.
That's going to stay in there. Let's come over here.
I wish we could move this camera around and see what David is doing because he'll probably never talk to me again. He's really trying hard. And it's unfair. I didn't give him the best sprayer out of the market.
What's my time?
So, are you giving up?
Over a minute.
All right. So we're going to stop. We're going to cut David some slack here. We're going to stop there. Now I'm going to get a rag. Adam's going to give me a rag, so I can go ahead and dry this out real quick. Right behind you guys. Right behind you.
No, not that one.
And then we're going to go ahead and, Adam, would you tell me that I have a minute
Yeah.
for me to do it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right.
He didn't complete it, so yeah, a minute sounds fair.
All right.
So a minute it is.
I see where Adam's loyalties lie.
So,
I'll hold that.
well, the Graco guys one that brought the pastries today, remember?
That's true.
All right, so I'm not spreading the guys. Again, for the sake of demonstration, we are using water.
Yep.
That's why you see us without protective equipment.
And I just want to mention it's just a demonstration. Obviously, we're wiping it down. Always give disinfectants the proper dwell time. You'll always hear me repeat that. If any of you guys know more piece of advice I tend to give, always make sure you're giving the appropriate dwell time. Whenever you're watching these demonstrations, we're just demoing. Always make sure it dwells because that's the correct way to do it. But now we have the, looks like.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Why is it in all time?
Important for it to actually kill the virus. It doesn't, realistically, almost nothing kills on contact, not even bleach. Everything does require some type of dwell time, which is why I always keep saying, follow the manufacturer recommendation because they've tested this stuff and they know what it takes for it to be effective. If you're wiping it down before the appropriate dwell time, you could be leaving things behind that are still, potentially dangerous.
Bernstein Painting is asking, I'm considering offering sanitation services to my painting customers. Is there a business model for selling sanitation?
Any questions? Is that Bernstein? Bernstein Painting Inc. was considering adding this, wants to know is there this model available. Honestly, pretty similar to your business model for painting. You're honestly almost doing the same job, just instead of spraying paint, you're spraying disinfectants. The easiest way to pivot the way you're looking to pivot is to reach out to the commercial contracts you already have. They already know your service. They know you've come in and sprayed, know that you are not have an EPA registration affected, have specifically designed to spray disinfectant. Can't even get their hands on the equipment, especially foggers and electrostatic. If you're able to propose a contract to your already existing customers that this is a service that you could do for them within the next 30 to 60 days, you are most likely going to be picking up that contract. Because I will say this right now, as far as business model, you want to be looking and reaching out to bars and restaurants and hotels immediately across the country. Everybody is opening up. But what are they doing? They have new procedures and regulations for every employee. Take away because it's to free up their employees to go doing what they should be doing, which are servicing their customers, instead of becoming or attempted to become sanitation experts, which a lot of you painting contractors can become. You guys already have the experience with sprayers. You know how to spray. You have to carry pretty quick. You have the trainers. All you've got to do is let people know I can do this. A great idea that a lot of people here locally have been doing is go to a restaurant, so that restaurant you want to say, man, we want.
So really, but the whole thing, right? So let me just my thing here. Sorry,
so he really wants to show me up. So let's see if the SaniSpray is all it's cracked up to be. So we're gonna see him do this live.
So what that we forgot to mention before.
All right, one of the things we forgot to mention,
have a nice, lot more flexible and less fatigue, so you can move fast.
Okay, so the SaniSpray does come with not only a hose but a hose whip. Looks like a 4-foot hose whip at the end of it, just easier on the wrist. All right.
time.
And you can really see how consistent that spray pattern is coming out of there. And I mean, it's not even a competition. You guys see the difference. If you're a hotel proprietor, seconds. That's how quickly you can sanitize your entire bar top. That's how quickly you can sanitize your tabletops in your restaurant. And just to throw this out there, we do have food safe disinfectant, red safe, and these units will spray that. Type of disinfectants where you just spray and go, no rinse required. We do have them available on our website. If anyone wants to know any information about that, we'll have that available. Lead time. The lead time, SaniSpray HP65 that we're showing you right now, honestly, they're shipping out as we speak. I actually had a pallet come in. I've already had 2 pallets come through my store. The big thing I'll say is they're selling faster. They're like hotcakes, honestly. Everyone's getting on board with this stuff. It's a big trend in our industry. Let's say the lead time I'm going to say is probably 2 weeks right now. If you order one right now, have it in your hands in 2 weeks for the SaniSpray HP65. For the other units, I'm going to let
The 130 is also available right now.
the 130, that's right, and that's the larger electric model.
Bring the paint sister of it, so
Okay, yeah, we're gonna bring the paint version of it because it looks similar to the Ultra 650, which is a newer model. And I'll just touch on that other SaniSpray that is also currently available now, which is the larger unit. It gives customers the capability to have 2 guys spraying on 1 unit, so you can run 2 lines on 1 single unit. And it's going to be the largest disinfectant sprayer on the market that Graco's right now. It's going to look like this model here. It will, with the white color, signifying that it's a disinfectant sprayer. It will support 2 individuals spraying at one time. And I'm going to let you take it from here.
So guys, one of the advantages of this unit is we made it because there are going to be arenas that need to get done. Football fields, soccer fields.
Yep.
All those bleachers, all those things need to get done. So we knew right away that the customer's going to ask us for something that gives them a little more production. So this unit comes out of the box with 2 guns, 2 hoses, 2 whips.
So it comes with both guns.
Ready
So
to go.
you're ready to work, 2-man job immediately out of the box.
No wait, nothing else you got to order. 4 tips.
Looks like we had another question.
She's ready to rock and roll.
To go back to the SaniSpray, David Durr,
and we have a follow-up question of, can we make it go slower?
Yes, you can. Actually, I had to make bad because that's purpose. And then
A good way to control the volume coming out of the machine is actually getting smaller issue. If you're spraying something that is food safe, a little bit of overspray, honestly, won't cause too much damage or issues. But there are ways to reduce a little and use a small.
shooting. Okay, we're out of business. Feet.
On
It will
camera.
not hurt. The overspray will not hurt. It's sanitation. We're not talking about paint that you got to clean up.
So I was just handing this on iOS. This is one of the disinfectants that we're recommending. This will go through any of the sprayers that we're showing now. This is one that is registered by EPA to kill the human coronavirus. No PPE required, non-toxic, no bleach, pretty much completely botanical, which means it's plant-based. And something like this, because you don't need PPE, it's not bad for you. It's not bad for your skin. You just, don't drink it. But overspray with a product like this would not be an issue at all because it's not dangerous. And so for those you definitely want to disinfect it. Honestly, the overspray will not even be a second thought to you.
David, let me ask you about the product that you're showing there.
Sure.
So that's water.
Straight to use. This is straight to use. We have it in single gallon, 5 gallon, and 55 gallon, and it is ready to use. You would just here
that because at the end of the day, mixing can be a problem. If you mix, you're wasting your time. If you undermix, you are wasting product. So the amount
it is air dry directly on food prep surfaces. No issue what's completely botanical and non-toxic.
So with that being said, we're going to go back to the machine. So again, the SaniSpray 130, it is going to be a 2-gun unit. You can hook up one gun or both guns to it. At the end of the day, it's going to be our highest production unit in the market.
So it'll be the most volume. If I want to spray the fastest, that would be the unit I'm looking at, is the Graco SaniSpray HP 130.
If you want to do more bigger areas, yes, absolutely. Okay. That will be the way I go. The unit comes again with 50 feet of hose, a whip, and 2 guns. You can add another 50 feet of hose to it if you need more length. Just keep your hoses balanced like you would on a regular airless sprayer.
So you wouldn't want to have one hose 200 feet and one hose 50 feet. You'd want to make sure you have equal amounts of hose on the unit.
They're both 150.
Good piece of advice out there.
With that being said, on the top of the unit, you're going to find that you have a control knob for your pressure back to the overspray. So when you turn it down, as long as you're getting your dwell time, you're getting your wet time, the less spray, the less waste you're going to have, the more material you're going to save. Just keep it wet as long as it needs to be wet to kill the virus. With this unit also, you're going to have the ability to hook up a 5-gallon bucket and move the unit with the material from room to room.
Very nice. So you're not even carrying anything. It's all wheels. You're just rolling it around, reducing your fatigue.
Exactly. Any questions on this?
Do we have any questions on any of this before we move on to any other topics here? Well, someone did ask about the handheld version, and I know we have the paint version here, so maybe we can just talk about this a little bit.
Okay, so I purposely set this one up, David. Okay, it's come with keep it away from your contaminated surfaces, so make it easier for you to maintain later on. So the knob, the operation of it is identical on both units.
Okay. I do know everyone is wondering this, and we just want to be upfront. What kind of lead time are we expecting on these right now?
Right now, we're taking orders, and the orders are coming in today.
Okay.
The orders are coming before. Those guys are ahead of the curve.
Okay, so everyone who's ordered before today is ahead of the curve.
They're ahead of the curve. The guys that are ordering today, you're looking at a 2-month backlog.
Okay, so if you've ordered before today, you're actually already on a front-running list. You'll probably get yours much earlier. But if you're ordering from today moving forward, we are looking about a 60-day lead time.
60 days, and it may be a little bit longer than that.
Hey, guys.
The orders are coming in faster, then we can put them out.
Okay. So we got a question here. 3 guys are wondering, do you have any idea on what the rate is for sanitation? Like, how much should people charge for contracting this out?
Unfortunately, I do not have that information. I wish I did. Honestly, that's a really, really great question. Honestly, and I wish I had that answer.
Can I help you with that?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
All right, so you guys probably heard me that I've worked for a painting contractor for 5 years, right? Okay. And I wasn't the owner. I worked for him, and that's one of the other questions that I was asking him. And the answer that he gave to me made a lot of sense. David, it all boils down to, number 1, what the market will bear.
Okay.
Number 2, what your overhead is. Number 3, including labor. Then once you do the first couple jobs, you figure out what your rate will be. But the rate in Orlando is going to be very different than the rate in California.
Yep.
Very different than the rate in LA. So there's really no magic number for that, no different than a paint job.
Okay. And something to keep in mind as you're out there quoting these, when it comes to disinfecting, you're probably not going to be taping anything off or anything like that because you're not actually painting the walls. So there might be a little less prep time when it comes to doing disinfecting jobs, but that's something that's going to come with experience. It looks like I'm getting a signal that I might be getting ready to do some line striping demonstration. I think we're actually going to grind line here on my lot. We're actually going to be doing some of my parking spots here. Graco is going to restripe my whole lot. I really.
He doesn't want to see how crooked we can be.
They're absolutely.
Adam, are you ready?
They said they destroy the lot, but they're not going to repave David, I'll have to Adam about that. What are we about to
Great, thanks. Appreciate it, bro. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the lines on this this asphalt. This asphalt, the parking lot. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
But it's
parking lot? I don't know if you want to pan and show people that I'm standing in a pot hole. My parking lot is really rough. It's not,
you know, I'm gonna take these. I'm gonna take up the old list, PCD flat drum, and I'm gonna restripe them. So I think good. You know, your park.
I'll just keep doing.
That'll work.
So you guys have your phones over. We're rolling. Okay, we're a rolling operation.
I'd like you all to see exactly what the surface looks like that I'm about to take up, so we can have a before and after. You're really going to be able to see what these drums are capable of.
All right. Giveaway 2 as we walk over, guys. Giveaway 2 in the chat. Everyone, please drop giveaway number 2, and we're going to choose a random winner for giveaway number 2 in a couple minutes as we slowly transition over. I got this whole rolling tech card. I got computers rolling across my parking lot. The electric line striper referring to earlier, 100% battery operated. As you can see, it's an electric motor. There is no engine on there whatsoever. Want to talk on it real quick?
This one does not have speed of the driver. This does not
pull the trigger. Okay, we're working backwards. Hold on.
Have a little technical. All right.
We're contractor guys. That's what we do. We work with the quick tech guys, but we're figuring it out.
If this show was that smooth, they may not believe what we're doing.
Exactly. Right? I got everything going on. I actually got a lift truck out here getting repaired. You guys have no idea. So here we are. As you can see, lot is very patchy. I got a patch here. I got, what is this? I got some pavement, asphalt here. We got our stripe. It looks terrible. I got weeds growing out of my stripe. We're going to take care of that. Let's see what we can do here today. Okay. We got good visual. Hey, Adam, keep your eyes open for giveaway number 2. I want you to choose a winner for giveaway number 2.
You keep saying Adam, man. That is like, it's messing me up. So as you can see here, like he was talking about, the asphalt's it's very uneven. It's cracked. It looks really bad. Yep. So if you were to go and try to restripe this without using a grind laser or doing the proper surface prep, it's just going to be a mess. It's going to look bad. You're not going to have a crisp line. What we're going to do is I'm actually going to cut this. I'm going to barely cut into the surface just enough to make the existing line disappear, because we want to make sure that we give the surface a nice bonding, surface.
Ready to take something, ready to accept the next stripe, is like something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and we're just going to shave this top layer off. That's our idea right now. All right.
And it's going to make everything nice and level. You're not going to have those pits. You're not going to have the waves. It's going to make it nice and straight.
All right. Let's, I'll hold the mic if you'd like. Let's see this bad boy in action. I'm actually excited to see this myself.
All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to have to turn up the
okay, here.
A little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit my button. I'm just going to go down to the depth that easy.
All right. Perfect. Here we go. All right, so here we go. I've actually never seen one of these in action. I'm actually excited to see this new PCD drum and what it's going to do. All right, let's see what's going on.
So the awesome thing about this, I don't know if we can see it.
Okay, so.
But you see, I don't know if we're able to see it. Without the camera, we can't really show it. But as I'm going, the surface is dipped down. Okay. So I took up the first part of the line, but now underneath my carriage, I can see there's still a line left.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can easily flick the trigger right here on the handlebar down enough to back up and take that away. and then go right back to my original depth.
So you don't have to keep going 10, 20 feet to realize, hey, I need to bring it down a bit,
and then,
fix this, and
go
move
over
on.
there and readjust, adjust back up.
All right, good to see. Because my pavement and my asphalt is so uneven, you know, he can adjust on the fly as he continues to shave it up. And you can see it's really doing it effortlessly. It's not struggling, not even with the electric line drivers, what's pushing it right now. And look like he's gotten it all the way to the end. We're going to back this bad boy off and see what it looks like. All right, so let's take a quick look. Oh, it looks like we're about to do one more. Here, let's at this angle. I told you I was going to get Graco to do my whole lot. I got a winner for number 2. It looks like it's Robert Mellis. Robert Mellis, please send me an email to sales@jnequipment.com. Robert Mellis, you are my winner for my giveaway number 2. Please send me an email so I can get something out to you, my surprise pack at sales@jnequipment.com. So let's take a look. Walking back over here. We're going to get a broom and we're going to show you guys what it looks like. The idea is that we're just shaving off the top surface. And, you know, hopefully I can convince him to stripe it next too. And then next week we'll have a demonstration of asphalt and I'll get them to do that. That's how you get free service out of people. All right, let's see what it looks like.
You can see, like, when we did it, though, did you see a big cloud? Was there a huge cloud?
Not a lot of dust in the air at all.
Like I was talking about earlier, with our carriage design, with that PCD flat, it pulverizes everything in a nice condensed pile. I mean, everything's going to stay right here. You're not going to have stuff shooting all over the place, hitting cars, houses.
So you want me to go ahead and give this a
go
sweep?
ahead. Let's
like.
give it a sweep.
Wow, you can actually see how clean of a line it made here.
Look at that. So look at this right here. You can see where they did the patch job, and you can see where I went through and just cut into the patch job and smoothed everything down. I don't know if we could brush it a little bit more. A lot of oil. It just it's where it's been resurfaced here, so you can see. Look how smooth that is. I mean, that literally looks like I got a rag and I wiped the line away, and all those pits and everything, it's made everything nice and smooth and flat.
Yeah, it's actually, my surface right now is actually really, really rough and uneven, and I can actually see here, if you guys who stripe, sometimes you'll notice they'll leave lots of grooves when you're doing this in the past with different drums. This is actually really smooth. It's actually really smooth. You can't really feel any pits or grooves in there at all.
And you know, if you finish it, hey, you see a little bit more paint where it really dips down. You can either leave it or you go back and, you know, just knock it down a couple more. Yeah. You know, and finish smoothing it down. But this is really nice. If you see this was a patch. I completely blended the edge of this patch in with the existing parking lot. Everything's now completely even. But also, one thing you want to, I don't know if you could see it on the video or not, but you didn't hear that like increase, right? I mean, it cut. You see how fast I took that
I
out?
actually mentioned that the machine seemed to do it without any struggling. There was no tone changes, and that was an electric driver.
Did you see any vibration? Nope. Like sitting there, like going back and forth, going back and forth?
It seemed like it did it pretty effortlessly.
Look at that. I knocked 2 of these lines out in seconds.
Yep.
Seconds. Look at that. Everything's perfect. So now you have a beautiful surface profile to put a new stripe, paint, thermo,
ready
whatever
to
you want to do.
Whatever you want to put in there, an inlay or whatever.
And this is not a machine you're just going to use once in a while, right? You get like a 1013. Excuse me. You get like a 1013 out there where you can walk behind it or use a driver. I mean, you could use them for so many multiple jobs, but the jobs that you're going to do, like the jobs that you have planned for striping, even restriping, they're going to be perfect. You don't have to worry about the paint coming up right away. So, everything's going to be nice.
One thing I want to ask, just because we did have to sweep up some of this dust, you mentioned that there were models that had vacuums attached to them.
Yep.
Would that be something that it would pretty much have just sucked it all up right behind us? What's the idea there?
It's going to take up a lot of the debris, right?
Okay.
It's going to take up every.
Okay.
Right? The main
Gotta be
purpose.
realistic.
The main purpose of the vacs is to keep the dust out of the air.
Is that for EPA compliance or
Yes.
just a little bit? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
All right.
to keep the dust down, especially if you're doing anything like sidewalk leveling. You can use these drums for sidewalk leveling, trip hazards. You know, you can use them for thermal removal, paint removal. You know, taking epoxies off of concrete floors. There's a long line of things that you can do with these machines that you can utilize them in the already existing piece of equipment that you have.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if you're a striper, this is something that you need. If you're a municipality and you're doing a lot of sidewalk trip hazards, this is a perfect machine for you. A 1013 or even an 89. We sell HP 89s for trip hazards all the time.
Okay.
You know, and one of the big things is I want airports to be able to see this, because you can see there's no aggregate chipping up. We're not grinding. So that's what causes those big clouds of dust, because you're actually getting in there with like a carbide, a flail, and you're actually the surface, and it's flinging stuff up. It's damaging the surface profile. This, I mean, this looks
it's perfectly smooth.
If it wasn't for the oil that's dripped down it, that's absorbed down inside here, I mean, this would look like brand new asphalt.
Yeah, it really would. You know, and it's actually shocking to see. And I don't know if you guys could see this on the camera. This was a really large patch job that I had here, because I used to have a pothole right here where I'm standing, and we actually did this cut right transitioning between. This was a part of the patch. This was the original asphalt, and it's really smoothed it out.
You can't see a difference.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know there was a difference.
I mean, it completely smoothed it out. We've done crosswalks where we've taken up. We took up like 13, 12-inch crosswalks in like 40 minutes. Okay. Right, and we had the crown, and the crown was a little bit higher than the other side of the road.
Is there any surface that this wouldn't work on? Is there any surface that's too aggressive that's out there now that you know of?
Well, no, not really. I mean, if you're doing inlay, right, you want to use PCD rounds. PCD rounds are going to grooves on the surface. It's a much more aggressive cutter, right? It's going to cut faster, and you're going to be able to get that inlay where you want those grooves.
Yeah,
you want those
because
grooves
you want your thermoplastic to lay right in there.
Exactly, or tape or paint or whatever, right? Even for some places, the grooves aren't going to matter because you're going to relay thermo back down.
Yeah.
In a case like this, you don't want a lot of damage to your parking lot because you're going to put a thin layer of paint back down, right? Or if you're on a concrete floor. But the right drum for the right job. Right? Okay. So if you're doing inlay, PCD round. If you're just taking up paint off asphalt, PCD flat.
Okay. What exactly does PCD stand for?
You had to ask me that right off the bat.
Oh man, I know the D's diamond.
Yeah, it's a polycarbonate diamond.
I think that's it. I think. Hold on, hey Andreas, what does PCD stand for? Let's see. We're testing our Graco knowledge here. He's looking like a deer in the headlights right now.
How do you say it?
Rich
polycarbonate, right?
Polycrystalline diamond.
Yeah, you caught me on.
It's okay. But I'll tell you one thing about Graco. They have more engineers than salesmen, and that's why they have these materials that they're coming out with and engineering all the time.
They got me.
And that's why they're very technical at Graco, and that is the truth. They have more engineers building this equipment than they have sales guys. Because honestly, once you build high quality equipment like Graco, then it almost sells itself.
You didn't know David was an engineer?
Dave's an engineer, maybe. He's an engineer of my Cuban coffee.
See?
All right. So do we have any questions on the line about anything when it comes to grind laser, removal of a top coat, anything like that? Do we have any questions on the line about that? No? Okay. Everyone's impressed. Great. So and I just want to reiterate, I have show discounts if you're looking for a line striper, if you're looking for a line driver. If you just want more information about any of this stuff, please reach out to us. We will have special show discounts. So, mention that show and we'll give you a special discount.
When you are looking into buying one of these, always know the job that you're doing and turn that information over to JN Equipment, right? So they can come back and we know exactly what's the perfect machine to match up for you. Like this 1021, you're not going to need a machine like that if you're just taking up small lines and, parking lots, right? You'd need more like an 89 or a 1013. You'd need something like that for long line. or inlay. So it's always good to pass that information along, so we know to get you in the right machine, right?
Yeah, it's important to get the right machine from the job. You don't want to overspend for a machine that was not for your application to start with. You know, especially a lot of you business owners out there. You know,
you don't want to get too small of a machine.
Yeah. There's a mix. You don't want to be out there working too hard because you got the wrong piece of equipment. And you don't want to overspend with the wrong piece of equipment. It's good to find that nice, the right piece of equipment, and that's why we're here, and that's why we have great Graco reps like Adam Stanley here, because whenever we're not sure, we definitely pass them off to the customers, and Adam's always been very helpful to all of our customers, and we're really happy to be working with them.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to clean up these lines. We're going to sweep them off where I just took those old paint lines up, and here in just a few minutes, we're going to repaint.
Quick question.
Hey, Adam, we got a question.
What areas do you cover in the U.S.?
What areas
I cover the Southeast U.S., so I cover Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Caribbean.
And if anyone could guess what state he's originally from based on his accent, we'll do a giveaway on that too.
Yes.
I don't know the answer, so he's going to have to tell us. But so if anyone wants to guess, go ahead and give him an accent.
You like that accent, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely from the Southeast.
Y'all can guess.
All right. So, do you want to, maybe we'll move on to another demonstration?
Yeah, move on to another demonstration.
We'll get this area ready.
Set up for the
all right, step 4. So we're just going to do a little bit more moving. Everyone just stay on with us here, and I'll take that mic.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Let's head back over here. Looks like we got some live paint demonstrations over here. And we'll be back to do some striping. So we will be doing more striping. We're just going to clean this up a little. We're going to come over and do a little more painting demonstrations, talk more about SaniSpray if you guys want, or talk about Graco paint sprayers. Sprayers. Any questions you guys have, honestly, throw them at us now. That's what we're here for. We have the Graco reps here who are extremely knowledgeable to answer all of our questions. So just stand by as we move along here. Getting another good view here of the Line Striper ES. I think this was just actually released about 2 years ago, completely battery operated. It's pretty popular for interior use, like Adam mentioned earlier. I sell a lot of these to large warehouses, and I'm talking like big warehouses over in Georgia, where it's one I call it the warehouse capital of the United States because there's so many distribution points in Atlanta, and these are a really hot seller for places like that. Another plus feature that a lot of people don't keep in mind when it comes to line stripers is you could technically pull the gun off of your line striper and use it as a regular paint sprayer when that time comes. So it looks like I have
been playing, yes. While you guys were playing over there, okay, Ricky and I were playing over here.
Oh, here we go. Let's come over here.
Can you see the actual?
Oh, that looks good. That looks really good. So what are you demonstrating here?
All right. So here's one of the questions that we had earlier was about the amount of material.
Right? That's right.
And tip sizes work in a very simple pattern. There's 3 digits, right? So the first digit is half your fan pattern, 12 inches from the substrate, multiplied by 2, meaning I got a 312, let's say.
Okay.
So if I take my gun and I point it 12 inches from my substrate, it'll be from the center 3 inches up, from the center 3 inches down.
So a good way to say it is, if you double the first number, that's the width of your spray pattern, 12 inches from the wall.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So now, when it comes in the paint world, you want to do a 50% overlap, so you get 100% coverage. When it comes to sanitation, you're going to keep that as wide apart as possible so you're more efficient and working quicker.
Okay.
All right. So, again, while you guys were out there playing with the machines over there, Ricky and I were trying to say, how can we demonstrate this for you? So
I like this.
We started off with a 619. So that would give you...
So a 619, I'm going to take the first number 6 and double it. That would give me a 12-inch spray pattern, 12 inches from the wall. So if I'm holding my spray tip 12 inches from my wall, it would create a 12-inch wide pattern. Yeah. So a 619 will create a 12-inch spray pattern. I'm doubling the first number to determine how wide my spray will be.
And then the 19 thousandths, that's the one that restricts or controls the amount of material that actually comes out of the sprayer.
So the next 2 numbers would be 19. That's going to tell me how much the size of the orifice.
That's the size of the orifice, and that's what restricts the amount of material that comes out, regardless of the pressure.
Okay, so let's say, demonstration, we have a 619. I'm using a 619, and I feel like I have too much material coming out. Where would I go from here?
So I would, if I want to keep the same fan pattern, the same 12 inches, then I would go to a 617.
617. And so that's just bringing the orifice a little smaller, creating a little more restriction at my tip, thus lowering my volume of material.
And the 17 thousandths happens to be a very popular name and probably the only one that I know how many gallons per minute it is, which is actually 0.3 gallons per minute that comes out of it.
Okay, so
all right, guys, we got some quick questions here.
We have a flag going on.
I like that.
Robert is asking, are there tips that can lower the particle size down to 20 microns?
That's a really good question.
That's an excellent question, more than likely for my engineers.
Okay.
Because I don't have an answer to that. I don't even know if it would be the material manufacturer that would answer that.
We're going to answer that question. Just because I don't have it right now doesn't mean we can't get it, because Graco definitely has the engineers to answer that question. Please get his email or leave your email in the chat. We are going to get you that answer. Because if it's possible, Graco does it, and we're going to get that figured out. Yes. Are there any other questions? Okay.
All right. So with that being said, the 17 thousandths is 0.3 gallons per minute.
Okay.
The other most popular tip size out there will be the 11, right? Which I refer to in the world of painting. Any odd size tip is a production tip.
Okay.
Even size tips are fine finishing tip, meaning that it atomizes material finer.
Finer. Okay. So. Right. So maybe for the previous gentleman's question, a fine finish tip might be something he could start looking toward, might be headed in the right direction.
That would be something he could test.
Since we're talking about tips, though, because you brought up a good point, when we're spraying with the SaniSpray, I notice we're always using these green LP tips. Can we just talk about the green LP tip versus the FFLP or the regular blue or black tips that I think a lot of people are familiar with?
Right. So in the Graco world, right?
I'm just going to walk this toward the camera.
We make 3 typical tips. It's really more than 3, right? But the most popular ones are your black tips and your blue tips.
Okay.
Those always come in odd numbers, and those are what I call production tips. So that'll be an 11, a 19, a 29, a 69
and those
on the second digit.
And those black and blue tips, they're usually for higher pressure, let's say above 1,000 PSI.
So those tips are designed to atomize paint at 2,000 PSI.
2,000 PSI, okay. And being the SaniSpray spray below 1,000, that's why we're using these LP tips, and that LP stands for low pressure.
Exactly. And then the FFLP stands for fine finish low pressure.
Fine finish low pressure.
So those are designed to atomize paint about 1,200 PSI.
Ah, okay. So these tips are specifically designed to atomize appropriately at the lower pressures.
Exactly.
Nice.
So you really don't want to be using the black or the blue tips with the sanitizers.
Always want to use those
green. Because the machine max pressure on them is 1,000 PSI.
Okay.
Okay. So now with that being said, guys, the 11 thousandths, the one that the typical painting contractor uses for doors, which I wish it would use a 10 or a 12, because believe it or not, when you shoot half of a door with an 11 and the other half with a 12 out of the same bucket, right, the same paint, the 12 appears to the human eye to be shinier.
Wow. Something
happens when you break those droplets more, you atomize more, that it appears for it to be shinier.
Okay.
Okay. So again, that's about 0.9. So it's 1/3 the amount of material that a 17 will give you. So I'm going to walk through 4 different tip sizes.
Nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to spray them on this glass to see the difference in, are we looking at the difference in width or the difference in material coming out?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both. And again, I've never done this before. It's something I've always wanted to play with.
Can I get a permanent marker or a highlighter so I can mark how wide it is on the glass? And as we go, we'll compare and see how it changes. And
so
that
again,
way we can see what's going on.
The purpose of this is for you guys to see as you reduce your orifice.
Okay.
Without changing the pressure on the machine, we're going to leave that as a constant.
Okay.
How much less material you're getting. Now, less material is not always preferred. Less material is when you want more control and to go slower.
Okay.
More material is for those guys that have more experience and they want to move in and out of jobs quicker.
Right. Because as you get more experience, a lot of people end up going to larger tips because now they're moving much faster.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Sir.
And I'm going to start with the 19 that we started with earlier.
So this is a 619.
That we started with earlier.
Great. So we're going to start with a 619, and I'm going to stand on the opposite end, and I'm going to try and mark how wide it is, and hopefully we can get consistency from our distance from the glass. And,
ready?
All right. We're ready.
Okay. You see the amount of material that's running down there, right? So that's a 19,000.
Okay, so that was a 19,000. We saw how much material was coming out, and then I put some glass here. I put some marks on the glass. I'm actually going to write here 619. 619. So that's where our 619 was at. Let's see where it goes from here.
That's just blue.
Okay.
So I'm going to go down to the next tip size that comes with the unit.
Okay.
Which is a 517.
Yes, that's a 517.
No, 617.
Okay, now we got a 617. So we should still get the same width, but there's going to be slightly less material. See what happens.
Ready? Here we go.
So we are getting the same width, slightly less material. It's a little noticeable. It's much less running down the pane of glass because it is restricting at the orifice.
Like you see, actually, there's less material, right?
Yes, yeah.
I can't see it. This is the first time I've ever done this. It's a thought that I've had before, but I've never been able to do it. I'm dying to see what the video looks like.
And one thing else I did notice,
material.
the pump actually moved a little slower.
Of course.
Also,
yeah.
The machine didn't pump as quickly because it didn't need to build pressure as quickly, so it ended up
less
pumping
flow.
slower.
Right.
Awesome. Any questions so far on the online world?
So we get a question: is the SaniSpray 130 HP the same displacement pump as the 650 or the 695?
No,
Absolutely.
they are completely different pumps.
Absolutely not. Besides the fact that they're replumbed, they're entirely different fluid pumps.
Yeah, and they all do different types of volumes.
Question, though.
Yeah, that is a great question because the 130 I think will do almost double the amount of volume potentially that the HP65 could do.
In the SaniSpray world, you're looking at 130 ounces.
Yep.
Versus 65 ounces.
Yeah, and just visually, if you were to look at the pumps, you would see they're actually completely two different pumps. The way they're manufactured is different. Yeah, so I can actually quickly, if you want to hold on to this mic.
Follow-up question. Yeah. So, Kenneth is asking, stating the pump is the same, but the different packings are inside.
No, it's all different. So this is the pump
for the GX19.
For a GX19. The pump for the HP65 will look visually similar to this, but the metal will be a different alloy, and the packings are also different. But visually, it's going to look like this. So you can actually see the size of this rod, and then the packings of the pump are all right here. So if I were to compare it, let me just grab this 650 and pull it up here. And I want to get this pump on camera. If I can get the camera, Andreas. If I get this pump on camera.
Fluid pump on camera.
So now, when we compare it, can you hand me that one again, just like on side by side? When I compare, I mean, look at the size. Okay, no problem. Take your time. So you can actually see the size of this pump compared to this pump. I mean, this pump is clearly a much larger pump. It's a whole different design. So no, it is a good question, but they all different design pumps. Even on all the handheld models, all the pumps are different. They're all different pumps.
Even on the corded and the battery one.
That's right.
And the on the regular paint sprayer, the Max, they're all three different pumps.
So it is not just the same thing being repackaged and resold to you different ways. Like I mentioned earlier, Graco has more engineers than sales guys, and they put those engineers to work.
All right, guys. So now I got two more tip sizes I want to show you. So I am moving down to a 515, and hopefully David will not knock this glass out of my hand. I was told that if the glass breaks, Ricky loses his job.
I have a lovely Vanna White coming over to help us out.
So you ready, Ricky?
Yeah. All right, so what size tip was this now?
515.
So this is a 515. So what I'm going to expect personally before he does it is it should be about an inch shy from each of these lines, and we should get less volume again. Let's see if that's true.
Ready?
We're ready. So this one, about a 2-inch difference there, and much slower. You can actually see it's much less volume coming down, especially compared to original test. And in the future, as we chop up this video in these next coming weeks, we're actually going to have these three side by side, hopefully in a video, so we can really see the difference on that. Did we get a good shot of that? Yeah. We got a good shot? Okay.
The machine comes with all three tips that we just demonstrated.
So this machine actually comes with all three of those tips.
All three of those tips. And mind you, I opened a package of a 312. The package that I opened of the 312 has its own seat in it for paint.
Okay, I see that.
You're gonna bring that over. I want you to bring that over.
Let me show you guys over what we're talking about. We're talking about this seat here. There we go. I think I got a good shot of the. And this usually goes in your guard you know, right where your guard and your tip meet. This creates a seal. And
Here's the seal for the SaniSpray.
and I'm just going to have them side by side in my hand. You could see the difference. Where am I? There I am. So this one here, 100% looks like plastic. That one's for the SaniSpray. This one has some metal on it. This is the paint one. I'm actually put the mic down to show you guys. Plastic, right? So you can see they are different seals. Like I said, it's a whole different engineer machine. It's not the same thing. It's all different. So here's those back.
Else, if we showed you guys
Question
else today is that you can buy another LP tip.
Can I quickly
make sure that you change the seat over, because this one is made, the black one, black all the way, is made for your sanitation products. This other one's got steel, and it will corrode and cause you a problem. So use the tip. Do not use the seat that comes with the other tips.
So make sure you're using the gasket or the seat that comes with your sanitation machine that's designed specifically for sanitation products. Looks like we had a question on the line. Let's get it through.
Okay, so we have Brian asking, are the pumps interchangeable between the paint and the chemical pumps?
Absolutely not.
No, they are not. Great question, Brian. Literally one of the very first questions I had when I first saw these machines originally was that exact question, and they are not. I wish if we had the two pumps available, I'd show it to you side by side, because you can actually see that it's different metal alloys. It is literally built from the ground up differently. Can we get a shot of that? Let's walk it over. All right. So I'm actually going to show you both pumps. I'm going to show you both pumps on the camera, and we're going to see the differences. So hold on one second.
Start off with this one. This is the pink one. Yep.
I can walk up.
So you can see on the GX19, the Finish Pro, it looks the same, but the alloys and the metals are different. The protection coatings for SaniSpray is different. So this one is made for paint and only for paint. Okay, if you run sanitation material through it, you will ruin your pump.
Careful with the water inside.
Not too much, though. Not too much. So you talk. If you got a mic.
Yep.
Speaking to my mic.
So what we've got here, you see over here how this is black, guys?
You see how much darker it is?
It actually even feels different to the hand. This one is made with the special coatings to withstand sanitation.
Yeah, because he's speaking
This here is a 1,000 PSI unit. The other one is 3,300 or 3,000 PSI unit. Two different animals.
Great. All right. I'm glad we had those here to demonstrate. Okay. I'm going to go on the back side.
By the way, Rick, we had a fan shout out to you. You're the greatest of all time.
That's Ricky?
Yeah.
Actually, I have another real question if they can't.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys. So again, this is a 312 tip. It
All right.
did not come with the unit. I pulled that out of my car stock.
Okay, so this is now a different tip. This is the 312, the 312 tip. And we're just going to do it for a demonstration to see the difference in, once again, width of spray pattern and amount of volume. So this one, we should see a big difference in the amount of volume coming out of the machine.
So I'm going to hold it again about 12 inches away.
Okay.
Right? And 1, 2.
And look how slow it's drizzling. You can see the difference now. There's a much bigger difference of how much volume's coming out. And we've actually reduced the spray from all the way out here to about half of the size. Just by adjusting the tips, we've been able to have a different width, different volume of material, and we never adjusted anything on the machine. We only adjusted the tip. So that's how much of a different result you can get just by using different spray tips. Just make sure if you are using a SaniSpray to use the LP spray tips. They're green in color, and they say LP, not FFLP, but LP for low pressure.
The 312s that we did was an FFLP.
Okay, but the one we just demonstrated, the last one was an FFLP
Because it was an
312. So we can use the FFLP tip, but we must use the gasket that comes with the machine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Which is the all black plastic.
And again, we're doing this for demonstration purposes, right? So just for giggles, we went from a 6, David, to a 5, right? To a 3. Now, since we're playing with this, and I think this is great, I think this is the audience here.
Okay.
Is going to know more about tip sizes than anybody else. Because there's a lot of videos and things out there, but I think the demonstration on the glass really makes a difference.
Rick, do you know anything about tip size?
Yeah, I know all the tip sizes.
All right, moving on. Oh, we got a question?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a question.
How can I apply disinfectant on electronics without damaging them?
How can I apply disinfectant on electronics without damaging them? The true answer to that is extremely carefully. You do not ever want to oversaturate electronics because you don't want moisture running down. I mean, there's two real enemies of electronics. It's heat and moisture. That's just the way electronics work. The only answer is extremely carefully. You definitely don't want to oversaturate any electronics. But one thing I always use in a knowledge, just keep in mind, when I was younger, there was a special aerosol can that we used to use to spray electronics. I think it was called N-Dust or something, but it was still moisture. You were still spraying something wet directly onto your electronics. So, electronics could still be clean using something that has moisture. You just don't want to saturate it. You definitely don't want to soak it. And you definitely don't want to spray any water or liquid directly into the vents designed for heat to escape. Like on the back of your monitor or your computer, or the back of your computer.
So Dave, just to make sure that we're all on the same page here, although I'm the equipment manufacturer, basically it's follow the chemical manufacturer's label.
Exactly. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions. Always be smart about what you're doing. Use common sense. But it's definitely something that can be done. You could definitely spray like computer monitors and keyboards, which are items that people touch a lot, including the mouse. You're not really going to get a lot of damage on that as long as you don't oversaturate it. I would advise away from directly spraying computer towers, especially the backside where they have all the venting and stuff. But as far as like your mouse, your keyboard, and your monitor, as long as you don't oversaturate it, you should be pretty safe. We've been spraying ours down nightly for about 2 months now. We haven't had any issues at all, except for all the fingerprints from them being so clean now.
Okay, good stuff. We got another question. On the machine, we demonstrate the 65.
On the HP 65.
Can we get 611 or 610 tips?
Can we get 611 or 610 tips?
Yes.
Absolutely.
As long as they're green LP tips, guys. Green LP tips.
As long as they're green LP tips.
The 11 will not be available, so it will more than likely be a 10 or a 12.
Yeah, and
even size tip.
And because we're getting such great questions, we're going to do another giveaway right now. So if you're in the chat, I got Adam Loyal standing by to take the next winner. So we're gonna do, what do we give? Are we giving away 3 or 4 right now?
No, we actually have a winner for him. Somebody guessed his home state.
Somebody guessed his home state. Wait, what's the home state? I don't even know his home state.
Colombia. What's the home state?
Yeah, you're only Tennessee, buddy.
Tennessee.
Brad Thomas was the first to guess it right.
I need Brad Thomas's email. Someone please.
I really don't know who that is.
Brad Thomas.
Yeah, good job.
Brad Thomas, please email sales@janequipment.com, and we're gonna get you something for that, just for guessing that. So if you're out there, please send us an email, sales@janequipment.com, Brad, and we're gonna go ahead and send you something out. It's gonna be a mystery pack. Who knows? It could be a tip, could be a whole gun, could be all sorts of stuff that I find in the back of the warehouse. But any other questions before we move on? I think we have one more. We have one more tip to go through, and then we're going to go back into a line striping demonstration because we do it all. So this last tip, what tip size is it that we're lining up with?
Guys, I'm really glad that you guys are on board with us. Thank you for joining us. When it's all said and done, it's all about you, the end user, that matters to us. There will be no Graco or no JN without you guys.
That's right.
Okay, and understanding tip sizes, I think this demonstration here is something I'm going to use in the future.
That was good.
Because I think it works really well.
Yeah.
Only problem is I'm going to have to bring David with me so he can use his Sharpie. So this is a 112, guys.
Oh, 112.
112.
So this should create a 2-inch spray pattern, only 2 inches wide. Is that right?
There you go.
Let's see it happen.
This is really more for the painters that want to paint those balusters.
Okay.
But so they can understand real fast how those tip sizes work.
Great. And this should also be a big reduction in the amount of volume of material also. So there it is. There's our 2-inch spray, and you see very little volume of material coming down there.
All right, Ricky.
So huge reduction in the amount of volume. Once again, we never adjusted any of the pressure on the machine. We only adjusted the spray tip, and we only sprayed that wide on this last test.
Ricky, thank you so much for holding that glass. I know it was heavy. You're more than welcome. Appreciate it. And I'm going to turn it over to Adam. He's got some more goodies to show you guys.
All right. We're excited.
Let's get it done. Thanks, sir.
All right, what do you got for us now, Adam?
All right, so what I have is the ES2000.
Oh, sorry.
Let me go ahead and bring it on. Do you want me to bring it up here?
Yeah, let's. Oh, yes, sir. Let me get these mic cords out of the way. Okay. All right. All right. So what do we got here?
So this is our ES2000. So this is the full electric striper. This is a 2-battery, 2-gun. It's got your auto layout on it. Actually, I should probably turn it around.
I see we got a laser over here also.
Yeah. So I'll talk about the lasers first, and then I'll flip it around so everybody can see the screen.
Okay.
The number one thing I want to point out about this is how easy it is to use it. Problem is, man, a lot of people that hear auto layout, they hear that's a computer.
They get scared. Yeah, they're a lot of guys. They're old school. They've been doing it the one way their whole life, and it's been working for them. So it's hard for them to change. So let's talk about that.
And also, a lot of people they still look at it as being like the old system, like LineLazer 4.
Yeah.
And do you have an iPhone 1?
Not
the
anymore.
First one?
Yeah.
You got rid of it?
Yeah.
There you go. You got to go with the times. Better technology, like he was talking about. Our engineering staff is phenomenal. Marketing and engineering. The number one thing about Graco is we go and we find what the customers need and we adapt to it. And that's why this is so easy to use. It's not hard. So what I have here is what the full.
Can I get a camera angle down here for you guys?
Thanks, sir. So our auto layout comes with a Laser Guide 1700.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's this dot right here.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys can see that, it's actually giving us like a lead dot, letting us know where we're headed.
So a lot of people will use this dot to put it right below the gun, right? So they can see where their line's going to start at because you want to be exactly on there.
Okay.
Why I have it out this far, though, is if for your guys doing restriping, and the one thing I want to point out is that auto layout is not. You see it?
Can we see the dot?
I put my hand there. Does that help?
Can you see the dot? All
There's
right.
a dot there.
All right, there's a dot there. You can see it. We can see it clear as day, right? All right. So one of the things I want to point out is that auto layout is not just for people restriping new parking lots.
Okay.
Right? Auto layout is also for restripers. And a lot of people are, probably wondering
what do you mean by that? Does that help you, stay with the lap?
So a lot of guys, when they're just doing restriping, they're just using a one gun and they're just restriping, and that's what they're content with. But for them to restripe, they have to put shingles and boards down before each one of the stripes because you don't want to mess it up and all your lines in your parking lot be uneven.
Okay.
Right? So you gotta eyeball it. So what a striper's doing is he's having to squeeze that handle, right? He's having to stare at his tip and then walk forward and time everything, or put boards down. You got to imagine doing 500 parking spaces.
Yeah,
right?
I can
That's a lot of lines.
doing a Home Depot parking lot like that.
That's a lot of like moving shingles or moving boards and eyeballing, squeezing triggers. It's going to wear you out. It wears a lot of people out, right? I'm just talking about restriping right now. We'll go into like new parking lot layout. What this dot is for, though, and the really cool thing about this is pay attention. This is for restripers. What we have back here. Hey, David, can you help me out real quick? Can you flip that around for me?
Flip it around.
Yeah, so we can see the screen back this way.
We got to pull the trigger to turn it?
No. Just back on it. Sorry. Thanks, sir.
Bring it towards the screen.
Yeah, just pull it up as much as you can. You're in a divot.
All right, that's good.
That's good.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome, guys.
Hey, can you try and see if we can get this on the screen, or if I need to create some shade for it?
So need some shade. To be honest, yeah, we're gonna need some shade.
Well, without the screen, let's talk about this like real quick. So if you have that green dot, you saw how it was. You see it? So what that green dot is if you see this dot right here, right, and you're restriping, what you do is you put that dot on the edge of your old stripe.
Okay. Oh no.
can see the display.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So you would put that green dot on the edge of your restripe, and so instead of putting shingles or boards down, you just put that dot down. You'd push that button and walk forward, and where that dot was at, it's going to start painting automatically. So if you had, say, 17-foot lines, you had a 500 parking lot stalls with 17-foot lines, right? Instead of putting shingles down, eyeball everything, or follow chalk lines, whatever. All you have to do is put that green dot on the beginning of the start of the line, push your button, and all you have to do is walk forward. It's automatically going to start painting where that green dot was at. And then it's going to shut off after 17 feet automatically.
Because then that's the average stall length.
Well, I mean, you measure your stalls. It could be 10 to 15, 17, whatever. And then you just push this button. This is where the easy part comes in, right? This isn't hard to program this. If you can see this right here, I have it on skip line. Right here, you can see your line and then your skip.
Okay, so what I'm reading, it's saying I'm going to make a 17-foot line and skip 2 feet before I make another 17-foot line.
So what? Well, if you look at the setting right here, so there's 3 settings for your guns, right? You have semi-automatic. Semi-automatic means you're going to do 1 space and 1 line only and stop.
So with 1 trigger pull, I do one line or one button pull. I'm going to do 1 line, 1 space, and it will not do another.
It will not do another.
Because I'm on semi-auto mode.
You're on semi-automatic.
Okay.
So what's perfect about that? Say you got to do 1 line down State Street, Main Street, on a racetrack. You can use this machine, measure the distance, and program in right there where you see that 17, the exact.
So you're saying this machine itself will also measure the distance for me? So I just kind of walk what I want to stripe before I stripe. I track the distance, come back to my starting line, and hit the button.
Hit the button.
Wow.
Where you put your green dot where you want the line to start, hit the button, it's going to do it, and then shut off automatically. All you need to do is keep the machine straight. It's that easy. So for restripers, you have 500 parking lot stalls to do. All you have to do is put that green dot on the beginning of your line, push the button, walk forward. It's going to do, let's say, 17 feet, stop. You back up, put your dot on your next line, push the button, walk forward. It's going to do 17 feet.
So once you're programmed here, it's pretty much just
just keeping it straight.
Follow the line.
Now here's the next thing. So if you want to look right here, this is our Laser Guide 2000.
So over here we got the Laser Guide 2000.
I'm going to totally mess up my calibration so you can see this. So, all right. Hey, David, will you grab that box for me, please? Thank you. So this is our Laser Guide 2000, right? So what you do is you line it up with your gun.
Yep, and I can see it's putting here a laser right on you there.
So David's getting the box for me. So what it's actually going to do is you're not going to follow this on the ground. What you're going to do is you're actually going to have this. Can you see that? Can you see it? Can you see it on the screen? Can you see it?
Can you see a green line or no?
Okay. All right, so you can see the green line. So what that's going to do is you're going to put that on the end of your stall. So instead of staring at your guns to keep it straight, you're just going to look at the end of the job.
So this box would essentially, let's say I was doing a Walmart parking lot, I would have this all the way at the end of the parking lot. So I'm focused on the end of the job and not just the exact stuff I'm doing right now.
You just put that laser in the box, push your button, keep the laser in the middle of the box. It's going to do everything for you.
How far can the laser go? How far?
I've had it 120 yards out
120 yards, so you can do a whole football field.
Yeah, easy. And you can see it in broad daylight. That's the whole purpose of the box.
We're in direct sunlight right now, and we're catching this on video screens. So it's definitely can be seen in direct sunlight.
So if you just want to put it in the front of the gun there, if you want to put it in the front of the gun, I'm going to turn the sorry. All right. So what you're going to do is you're just going to line it up with your gun right in the middle of the box. Move the box over just a little bit more, please. A little bit more. There you go. So now when you have that out, you're just going to push your button and you're just going to walk and you're going to follow that laser in the middle of your box. Just like that. So if you want to look at this, like this is how stripers typically stripe, right? They have to push this and then they have to stare at their tip. And the thing about it is if you can see you veered off and you have a wiggly line, everyone's going to see the wiggly line.
Because most of the time when people are striping, they're really staring right here.
Right there.
So they're not really looking at the big picture. They're really only looking about 3 feet away from where they're standing.
So it's easy for them to accidentally move off and then have to get back on.
And you see that all the time, honestly.
Exactly.
When you go to parking lots, you'll see.
You can see the wiggly lines and everything.
Don't point out my lines.
He's the one I was talking about, actually. All right. So the further you put that out there, the straighter your line's actually going to be. Nice. And you know, we have a lot of instructional videos. If you go to Graco.com, we have a lot of great videos, or our YouTube channel. Just Google, I
think Graco Paint
Laser Guide 2000. You're going to see a lot of great videos on how to calibrate this. Contractors using it. This is a great tool to use. You know, there's no measuring tape, no chalk line. What we have right here is a complete package.
This cuts your prep time probably 75%.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Because you're not running around with chalk and string and snapping on the ground.
I've had guys that, you know, they have back problems putting chalk lines down. And I'm sweating right here in the shade.
Would it be
Can you imagine sitting out here chalk lining the whole parking lot?
Would it be accurate to say when you have guys out there chalking and this and that, you might have a crew, but you might be able to have less employees get the same job done?
Yeah, you're not taking away jobs. You're finding them to be more constructive, right? So you're making more money. You got more people out there doing more things. You're making more money. Time is money, right? Time is money. So what we have here on this setup, can you see the whole? Setup right here? So what you have is you have your screen. You have gun 1, gun 2. So I could put this gun on solid. I could put this one on skip. I could actually turn my gun out on the right side. Like you've seen it at go-kart tracks. I'll have like a solid line next to the curb and then skip lines on the edge of the curb. You could do that with this machine. You just walk. Nice. You just push a button and it's going to automatically do everything for you. So you could program, so you could turn your guns on solid or skip right here. Your program mode is here. So we talked about semi-automatic, right? So then you have automatic. What do you think that does?
It's going to automatically continue the pattern.
That's right. It's going to keep going until you push the button again.
So I push the button once, and it's going to keep spraying the pattern, let's say 17 feet on, 2 feet off, until I push the button again.
Well, if you're doing on skip line. Yeah. Now, if you're doing on solid, it's going to keep going until you run out of paint or you push the button, right? I just want to ask a quick question, because on my end, I get this a lot. Yeah. And a lot of guys, I feel like they might be intimidated by the auto layout. But it seems like it's a very simple system. It's very easy. So
what would you say the learning curve or the time it takes for someone to learn this system? Is it difficult?
An hour of training.
An hour of training. So maybe a lot of people out there, you guys might be scared or feel like this is something you can't do. It is very, very simple, and the training is available.
Yeah, it's an hour of training. You're going to know the screen after that. After that, it's practice. Practice. That's something that we Graco guys in the field cannot do for you. Right? It takes experience and practice. You can't just go out there and think that you can push a button and an hour later be great with it. You have to practice. That's why a lot of these machines, I say practice a little bit with water, until you get good with it.
That's absolutely
experienced stripers, they're going to take something like this, though.
And run with it.
Yeah,
and that's one thing I'll just touch on that. If it was that simple where everything is just a push of a button, let me tell you something, everyone would be out here doing it. There's a reason why there's professional contractors.
Exactly.
And it's experience. The experience and the know-how is what's going to separate you from everyone else. And the only way to gain that experience, honestly, is to get on the field, go to pro shows, do what it takes to get your hand on this equipment so you can learn how it's done.
So there's a third gun mode.
Okay.
And this is the easiest one.
Can we make sure we have a good view of our screen here?
Can you see it?
Okay.
So you're going to have right here, E. So we went over semi-automatic, S for semi-automatic. We went over A for auto, and now we're on M for manual. Manual is just going to be you push the button, and it goes. You release the button, and it turns off. It's the same principle as squeezing the trigger. But, with automatic and semi-automatic, you're never going to use manual unless you got to do like a little short line around a curve or something like that. Okay. That's the only time you're going to do it. So
let's say would I also use manual? Let's say I had a stencil. I'm doing this parking lot, and I got a couple stencils I got to knock out. Maybe. So
if you're doing the great thing about this, if you're doing a stencil, you can just easily come over here and take off the gun, take it out of the actual the holster there,
and then just pull the trigger.
And just pull the trigger, and you're going to spray. Perfect. And you can put paint tips in there. So if you have a one gun setup, if you have a 2-gun setup and you're only striking gun, you can have the second gun. It's good to get 2 guns. Then this is why. Because you can use the one gun for your lines and then have your second gun set up to do your stencils. You can have a painter's tip in that gun. Take it out of the holster, just pick it up and start doing all your stencils. Nice. That is really nice to have that. Or you can have setups to where you can put guns in the rear of the machine. Now, sometimes you go in the forums on Facebook and you see people like switch the carriages around and this and that. But with Graco, you can place your carriage in the rear of the machine.
I
right
see
here.
there. Yeah, you got a hook up right here where we would just
Exactly. So you can put one gun in the back and one gun in the front. It's actually you're more stabilized to put your guns in the rear of the machine.
And here's where you could put the guns in the rear of the machine. Why would you say that it's more stabilized back there?
So it's a pivot point, right? So if you have your machine, you have the front of it moving like this. The front guns are going to be ultra sensitive. So every bit of like turn or bump, you're going to feel it. If you have guns in the rear of your striper, it's going to stabilize it. So it's going to be like this, right? So I could put a gun in the back, or I mean, a lot of guys, they just flip their guns backwards.
Okay, yeah. So you just kind of spin the bar,
yeah,
and now it's going to be hanging back here by the back tire.
Yeah. So I mean, our
more than one way to skin a cat.
Our machines are so customizable. You're going to be able to do anything that you want.
Nice.
So guys, if I can ask a question, because I think Adam, you mentioned this to me before. Also, when you're painting a radius, when I put the gun in the back, doesn't that give me a tighter radius?
Yes. Yes,
that
exactly.
gives me a tighter radius.
And that's another. Thank you, David. That's a great question. And that's another good reason to be able to put your guns in the back. And that's why a lot of people do flip the frames around on other stripers, because they want to be able to get that tight radius. And you're going to be able to achieve that by putting the gun in the rear of the machine.
Luckily, Graco's engineers already thought of that in advance, and it's all set up right out of the box for you to make these changes without having to do any kind of customization or something that could potentially void your warranty or something like that.
And having the Laser Guide 2000 allows you to be able to keep your guns back there and not have to worry about it, because now you're looking at the laser and not the gun.
Yeah, you're not looking down 2 feet in front of you. You're at the end of the lot.
And guys, it's also safer. You think about it. You have a Laser Guide 2000 and you're on the side of the road doing spraying, doing sidewalk.
Your eyes are up.
On the side of the curbs or in the middle of the lane. If you don't have that laser, you're staring down, right? With the Laser Guide 2000, now you're able to look straight ahead. You got your peripheral vision.
It's a great point.
You can see all around you. And even if you look off with that green laser in the middle of the box, you'll be able to go right back to it.
Do we have any questions before we got anything else going on? We got a winner?
Yeah.
8 more minutes.
8 more minutes? We only got 8 more minutes. Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
So for giveaway 4, our winner is Jeanette Alvarez.
Yeah, we can do
Jeanette Alvarez to giveaway number 4. Please give us your email.
Okay.
Sales at jnequipment.com.
Send your email address to us. Tell us that you're winner number 4. Sales@jnequipment.com.
The number one thing I want people to walk away from with this, though, is that there's a lot of Graco support in the field. You got David down here. He's great. I travel around. I'll do trainings. But this is extremely easy to use. Do not be intimidated by it. Don't, the old way of holding the trigger for hours and hours and hours. All you have to do is push a button and keep it straight, and you're ready to rock and roll.
All right.
I mean, it's that simple.
Well, we only have a few more minutes. I don't know if we want to try and get a stripe in. Do you want to try and do that?
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's finish this thing off with a bang.
You can keep the camera down here, and I can just do. They can see it from a distance.
That's fine, because we can strike. It doesn't have to go far. You can do it right here.
All right, we'll take like 4 minutes.
Adam already offered to repave my whole lot after the show, so we're good to go. So if we can just make sure we got a good camera angle, and you want me to set up a box for you somewhere?
No, I'm gonna put it down there on the end of the line.
Hey, how about we put the box over here? You walk toward me. Kind of.
No, you go this way.
No, yeah. Put the box here and come all the way back, because I'm redoing the whole lot.
So that we can action shot of you.
Okay. Well, what do you want? Well, then come closer.
We're setting up. David is.
No, because if we do it right here, our camera's already set up. Just check like 6 feet here. Is that cool? Yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna do like a quick 6-foot stripe here. Let's see what happens.
Why I'm moving it like this is I don't like to. One of the things too is I move this.
Yeah. So just something to throw off. We kind of went off of our calibration as we were going through our setup. So we're just gonna quickly try and give it a recalibrate. And here we go. Just so you can see how clean of a line.
So can you see the laser inside there? You want to pan into the laser? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on semi-automatic. All right. So I'm going to take. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece of orange paper here. I'm going to put it on my green dot. This is where my green dot's at.
So what we're doing is replacing that orange piece of paper right on the green dot where the laser coming off the phone in the machine is showing us.
I'm going to put my gun on gun 2 on skip.
We're on skip mode, semi-automatic.
And I got my laser lined up in the middle of the box.
And we have our green laser 2000 lined up in the middle of the box.
So you see here, I push the button, nothing's happened. I push the button, Ready to rock and roll.
So he's already pushed the button, but it hasn't sprayed, even though he's pushed the button. But now he's going to stop walking forward.
I'm not going to control it.
Not going to push any more buttons or pull any triggers. We're just going to push the machine forward. Boom. Look at that. So the machine knows the distance it's going. It's going to make the spray. And there it is. Without having to hold the trigger down or anything like that, we're going to make the spray. You know, yeah, my lot is very rough. So, you know, obviously that didn't happen. But you do get the idea there of how clean of a line these Graco machines could do and how it was able to spray on automatic mode. He hit the button one time, and all he had to worry about was pushing the machine forward. He was not worried about pulling his trigger, coming off of his trigger. It was automatically doing what it had to do.
Okay. So, you know, from a distance, if you could shoot that, I'll just put the laser on there, and I'll just re-put that line back down.
Sounds like a plan.
I don't want to end with a crooked, little crooked line. You can see the dip where I pushed it. It went down the dip and went the wrong way.
All right, yeah,
so,
let's
that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, right? All right.
Oh, they won. Let's do winner number 5. Go ahead. Winner number 5 right now. Let's do it, guys. So if we want to do winner number 5, everyone, just put it in giveaway number 5. Let's do it. You know?
All right, guys.
And we're going to do so. All right, so let's see. We're going to do one more demonstration here. Hopefully put that line down just the way we picked it up earlier.
So I'm just going to push the button again.
So here we go. Look at that. And there it is. Beautiful.
Automatically shut off on its own. So you see that. I didn't have to do anything. I had to push shingles down.
So the machine's...
I just put the green dot, push the button, walk forward, and automatically shut off at 17 feet.
So quick question, how does the machine know where the green dot is?
That's a great question. Well, it's got an actual a counter cog in the actual back wheel. So as the wheel rotates, it picks up that measurement.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very precise.
Yeah.
You calibrate these when you first get them. And the longer distance you calibrate, the more accurate it's going to be. But straight out of the box, 20 feet, it's going to be extremely accurate.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be within a quarter of an inch.
All right, so do we have any questions on the line? We will be wrapping up this show here in about a few more minutes here. I think we're doing our giveaway number 5 now. We'll find another. Any other questions on the line?
I want to thank everybody for giving us the time today. You know, like David said, that make this happen. And we appreciate everybody, and we want to say thank you, especially to the to our medical personnel in these very difficult times. I'm sitting a little close to you, actually.
It's okay. You know, also, obviously, on behalf of J&E Equipment, we'd also like to thank you guys and, you know, all of our sites, JNEquipment.com, all of our partner sites, including LineStriperDepot.com, the #1 source for all your Line Striper equipment online. Winner number 5 is Flaws Merc. So Flaws Merc, if you want to send us an email to sales@JNEquipment.com, we will get something out to you in a surprise box. And another thing to keep in mind, just because you didn't win something today, we are doing special show discounts. If you want a discount, just email us, sales@JNEquipment.com. If you're a part of this show, I will give you a discount. If you're looking to pick up any Graco item, especially when it comes to line striper stuff or SaniSpray, we are giving special show discounts. So if you saw something you're interested in today, reach out to us. We'll give you a discount and help walk you through that decision or answer any final questions you might have.
So, Adam, how many people do we have online right now?
Do we have a head count?
Take a wild guess.
Let's see.
All right, so this is what we're going to do.
This is what we're going to do.
Online, right now, the only gift that you're going to get that is not going to be a surprise gift is this gentleman is donating not that hat because we don't want that one.
Hat. If you want this hat, I'll autograph it.
He's going to donate us a special edition 30th year LineLazer hat.
Wow, a LineLazer bucket hat. That's nice.
42 people online? Perfect. Yeah. So how are we going to do this, guys? We're going to be able to do this randomly.
So in the chat, drop Graco hat. Tell me if you want the Graco hat, say, I want that Graco hat. Drop it in the line. And what's going to be that's the closing giveaway.
That's the closing giveaway. We're going to give one out and only one.
And we'd like to thank Graco for you guys coming out, taking all the time to show us everything, taking time out of your schedule. We really appreciate it, guys.
Our pleasure. We're glad you guys could have us.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. We're wrapping it up. And hopefully we'll have more of these shows in the future, and they'll get even better in the future. I promise we'll be even better prepared moving forward. We appreciate it. And over and out, guys. Thank you very much. And thank you for all my camera equipment, all my audio guys here today. Thank you.
You got to show them over there.
Thank you. Come on,
let's pan over to my audio guys. There we go. Thank you very much, guys. Take it easy, everyone.
All right.
Somebody had to hold the tent down.
Cut it. Cut off.